Good day and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight, which we're calling GM's Corner, a series of regular conversations with LMOA's General Manager, Steve Hurwitz, about what's on his desk and on his mind. This broadcast group presentation is brought to you from our studio in the Fairway Clubhouse, and I'm your host, Ron Krause. Well, we introduced you to new GM, Mr. Hurwitz, last month, and he has certainly run full tilt on the job, getting into various aspects of it, both inside and outside the lake, as we covered some of last time. But meanwhile now, the day-to-day, the nitty-gritty, and so to start this series, the inaugural, our aforementioned Lake Monticello General Manager, Steve Hurwitz. Steve, great of you to be engaging in this fashion, and we know it's part of your effort to keep the community as involved as possible. So, what do you want to lead with? What's on your top of your pile this week?
Well, there's an awful lot. I thought, what's of most interest to the community? There are a number of subjects, and I'm going to turn it around and ask you.
Well, it seems to me that the boat, the dock replacement number 4 seems to be top of line.
Well, I'm very glad to report that we're making progress. It's been much slower than we thought. The insurance company approved the replacement of the dock, and they're going to cover the cost. And then as we went into the arrangements for the replacement, we naturally have to be very careful about the business arrangements, that they're appropriate, that all the bells and whistles are covered in the contract itself. And that's taken a little longer. The company that, with the insurance company, was selected to do the replacement, and the type of dock that's being put in took a little while to select. Not too long, we did it pretty quickly in really about 2 weeks. But once that was done, these business arrangements took a little bit longer. And in fact, we were hoping to get the company to do it before their heavy season started, as you approached the real meat of summer.
Surely.
Well, we're in the meat of summer, but I'm glad to report that right now the dock is being assembled in sections in North Carolina, and we're just waiting for word from the contractor when they're done assembling it and can deliver it and install it. When we get that word, it would probably be about 2 weeks after that time, and then really just a matter of a few days to do the delivery and installation. And we will look forward very much to letting everybody know when that is. We're doing everything we can to keep everybody updated, even though there isn't much news, but in particular, the boat owners who were displaced, either because their boats were destroyed,
Right.
lost, or the ones who were just displaced because that whole section of the dock is gone, are very anxious to get back to their home port, so to speak. So we're just about as eager as they are to know when that'll be. We expect that soon.
Yeah, so basically our LMOA insurance is going to take care of it, and the boat owners, I guess, if they had insurance on their boats, you think they would, that depending, I guess, should be made whole there also?
Yes, and that's a very interesting point. The insurance on the boat is, of course, largely a matter between the boat owner and their insurance company. But there is a trick. Insurance is required to register the vessel here at the lake. And the reason we do that is almost exactly what happened in this case. Owners lost their boats. If they didn't have insurance on it, that's their personal loss. If they have insurance, then the loss can be covered to a certain extent. In addition, there's the liability question. So an extensive fire investigation was done and reports rendered. And at this point, the insurance companies handle it. We actually don't play any active part in that. Our insurance company and the individual owners' insurance companies all work on it once they've got the report, made their determination. But it is a reminder of the importance of insurance, which also then kicks in the subject of boat registration.
Yes, which is required here at the lake.
It's required to operate a vessel on the lake, and it's very important, as proven in this case. So the marina staff is doing everything they can to encourage people to do that. In fact, if you pull up and try to get gas at the marina. Unless you're registered, you're going to have a hard time.
All right.
So it's very important for
Yeah.
a lot of reasons.
Yeah. And certainly the registration involves basically passing a proficiency course.
Yes, that's true too. Anyone who operates a motorized vessel on the lake has to take a course and pass a local test for operating at Lake Monticello. I myself have been studying by candlelight, almost, at night, getting ready for the test, which I understand is very direct, but nothing to fool with. So I'm being sure I learn the port and starboard and all the rules and procedures. In fact, my wife and I were on the lake by ourselves for the first time this past weekend in kayaks. So the rules about kayaks are not quite as complicated, and you don't have to have a license. But it turns out that when you're on the water, your awareness of what the motorized vehicles is doing is equally important to you.
Very definitely.
For your own safety and that of everybody else.
Yeah. And this course is offered here on a regular basis.
Regular basis in the spring to get ready for the summer. And my understanding it'll be offered again in the fall.
Okay, all right. And so folks just need to stay alert for the announcement on that.
Yes.
I know that is publicized. It's not terribly expensive, but time-consuming to the matter of learning the material.
Absolutely, and it is important to know all those things.
Absolutely. We're into the second month now of the new recycling program. We had to switch over, of course, when they closed the Van der Linde recycling center up there, but new contract was worked out with the trash hauler, and arrangements have been made. How do you assess how it's been going?
I think it's been very successful. First of all, the staff did a great job negotiating a contract price for recycling, because the whole business end of it changed. It was, we were doing single stream of both trash and recycling, but that changed when the Van der Linden facility closed down. So entering into a whole new world, we had a price to deal with, and the staff negotiated that price down significantly before the board approved the agreement with County Waste. On top of that, it provides people a new way to get rid of recycling that's generated in the house, and it's separated. And it seems the responsible thing for Lake Monticello to be altogether fully involved in recycling. And we think that a huge percentage of the households are doing that. In addition, there's a little benefit in that every Friday, all recycling is picked up on Friday. So all the households that are participating, which is way above 90%, they get an additional volume of material they can get rid of that doesn't have to be mixed up with their regular household trash, which provides more space for that stuff.
We just have to remember 2 nights a week to put out a toter rather than one.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. Well, that's we know there's been a little bit of grumbling around the edges, but certainly it so far it seems to be working pretty well. We understand the board has been making, seems to me, a greater emphasis, what we heard, their interest in the community appearance of lots and homes. And of course there is the normal, regular environmental folks going around doing that. But that has led to kind of putting the program on a steroid or so, is it not?
Well, it is quite different, and it is important. We've heard from sources that should know. In particular, real estate agents have told us that our community has tremendous amenities and many beautiful homes. And some homes that you wouldn't quite call beautiful in terms of their maintenance and their look and so forth. And so maintaining yards, maintaining the house, all of that is terribly important. The way we were organized before, there wasn't really the manpower to go out and check. We were doing it on a kind of a limited basis, trying to respond when people would maybe let us know about a neighbor that had something really egregious going on in the front or even in the back of the house. And we would respond to that, but with as many homes as we have, that really provided only bare minimum coverage. So the board approved bringing on an inspector for 28 hours a week who was able to get around to the entire community. What I asked them to do was to identify those that most needed attention. I called it the top 100. Well, the top 100 is 123.
Oh.
And so, but it's a very gracious kind of program, step by step. So when there's a problem identified by people that are well-trained, and they identify the problems in accordance with, checking with the standards, they're not making anything up. Then there's a letter that notifies the owner, and if there's a tenant, both the tenant and the non-resident owner or landlord, of what it is and what they would have to do to fix that, and then how long they have to do it. And then after that time is expired, either they tell us they've done it, or we go out and check. And then we would hope that it would be done. If not, then there's a little more formal process that eventually leads to a hearing with the compliance committee, with possibility of charges for non-compliance and further encouragement. After that point, if there still isn't compliance, we can, there are other measures we can take, including finding someone, this is by the compliance committee, volunteers, formally meeting and judging, following due process procedures, that someone has failed to comply with the directions they've been given. And then they can be judged to be not in good standing, and there's certain penalties that go with that, charges or possibly reduction in the amenities they're allowed, including one that's really quite dramatic, which is if you're not in good standing because of this reason or others, you have to enter the community via the Ashlon Gate.
Yep.
And so that can be quite an inconvenience to people. That's very unfortunate, but it's really quite a serious matter that affects the overall look of the community. And so we've been going ahead with that. I think it's going well. We're still in the rather early stages, but we're looking for compliance, which is in to everybody's advantage.
Surely. Well, that's why I call it a community. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah. We understand you have a development involving food and beverage service.
We do, and we're very proud of the progress that's been made in food and beverage. I have to keep in mind, we're still a startup business. New buildings, new staff, new menu, everything brand new, so it's virtually a startup restaurant business. And it's good to keep in mind that a significant percentage of restaurants don't make it past 18 months. But with that as a given, we certainly will make it. And a really important point is to know a lot of people have been very thoughtful about letting us know what their observations or concerns are. And although we try very hard, it's very difficult to answer every one of those in person, in detail. Our food and beverage director got a 14-point email recently, and it's very, very difficult to do that. But it's important for everyone to know that all of those inputs are being accumulated for a couple of reasons. Number one, there have been adjustments all along. Certain things have been done in order to focus our attention and provide better service and a better food and beverage product all along. In addition, the staff is doing a staff review in September with an emphasis on service, customer service. And then we have certain things also that we'll be doing on a staff basis with the board's concurrence. But there's a big review planned by the board after a full year of operation and all the financial data is in, and then all of these inputs that people have been very kind in taking their time to let us know about their concerns. That's all being accumulated, and the board will be doing a complete review. On top of that, one particular concern that has been communicated to us is room rental rates. And that is a very important point. There's a rental rate for the various facilities for private functions. Well, those rates are set during the annual budget process, which we're in the early stages of, but moving on. And so it's on the list for the board to address the rental rates. And I know they take that very seriously. They'll look at all the information all the financial data that's been accumulated, as well as the inputs from people. And I'm sure there'll be a really good shakedown and consideration of what rates really do serve the community's interest, realizing the community is individuals and families and groups of people. So I'm sure that's going to go very well in terms of responding to people's needs and desires. And again, we appreciate I don't want to call them inputs, but we appreciate the detail with which people have addressed their concerns.
All right, okay. Well, I'm sure you probably have more and more folders and more things on your desk, but this is pretty representative for an inaugural shakedown cruise. So we want to thank you for doing that and for being with us. And you have been watching LMOA's new General Manager, Steve Hurwitz. We hope you folks will join us for more spotlights, and that you will also check out the rest of the broadcast group's program offerings. So till next time, on behalf of the LMOA Broadcast Group, I'm Ron Krause. Thanks very much for watching, and so long.